Hello everyone, welcome back. So in our API testing series, today we are going to see the get call into the Postman, and also we will see the use of path parameter and then the query parameter, how we can utilize these two parameters in our get calls. Okay, so we have seen the Postman overview, like how to use the Postman UI, what are the different options available, and how to run the collection as well, right? So today we are going to go a bit detail into the get call, and I will be using couple of demo API services which will help us to understand the path parameter and then the get call results as well. Okay, so let's talk about a bit about what is get call and what exactly it does. So it's in a simple word, a client will make a request to the server on a specified resource. Now what is this resource? This resource is basically a place on your application. Think about you are going to your settings page to sign out. So what you do, you open the facebook.com, let's take an example, and then you will go to the settings, you click on the settings. Now after that it will navigate to the settings screen. So settings is a resource there. So the same thing, you want to add a friend, like you want to send a friend request, then the friend request would be a resource in your application. So the API call is similar. So you are just hitting to a resource to get certain information. Okay. Now, since a get request is only requesting the data and then not modifying any resources, because you are simply fetching certain details, right? Like for take an instance, if you are searching anything on the Google, okay, now it basically gives you a read only the content, right? You basically are not changing anything into the application, you're just fetching the content only. So that's basically a read only. So that is why get call is always safe, and also it is idempotent, means you cannot change the state. So that is what the get call is all about. Let's say that your get call is success, you got what you wanted, so you will get an API status code is 200 as a success message, right? And then if your request is not proper, let's say that you didn't follow the proper guidelines to request a specific resource, or you are asking for a resource but the resource is not available. So there could be any other scenarios, right, rather than being success. So in that case you can get the 400 errors. Let's say that you are not authorized to get, so you will get some 400 series any of the error code from there. Or let's say your application server is not at all responding, you might get any of the status code or the series from the 500 series. So that is another option. So you can compare what kind of status code you're getting, and as per that you can decide whether the API call is working fine or not, because we are talking about the testing perspective, right? So we have to understand the result as well. The result that we are getting, is that really an expected one, or it is having any issues? Okay, so one of the simple get call request, the example is that I'm taking the pet store. So it's a pet store where you can find the different pets depending on the status. So let's say that I want to say that, so find by status is your resource actually from the application. So in that resource, I'm saying that get me the list of pets that has the status available to buy. So this is one of the example of get call. I'm not really doing anything, I'm simply fetching something. Let's say that you are going to the Amazon and you are searching for the mobile devices, okay, and on the left hand side column you will see there is an filter criteria where you will say that exclude out of stock, or only you can check a checkbox the available models only. So your list will be like changed, right, according to your selection. So this could be one of the selection also, that show me only the list items that is, or the items that are available on this store. So you can see that. So this is a get call. Now talking about the get call, you will have two types of API calls. You can format that. So one is actually you can have path parameter. The second one is your query parameter. So path parameter, the examples are listed here. I will be showing that in detail into the Postman, so don't worry about that. Query parameter, it always starts with a question mark. It's basically filtering certain options based on your selection or preferences. You will get the data. Let me quickly jump into the Postman and show you a couple of examples to know more details. Okay, so let me go into this particular application. So the restfulbooker.herokuapp.com, a booking site actually. So this is, if you go to this particular website, so see, any API calls you are doing, get, post or anything, first of all you need to look into the documentation, like what are the different features that are available. You can't just so like one API call, the particular feature is available, but that may not be available into any other demo or in real-time API calls. Each one has their own way of implementing the API calls. So to get more specific items, you need to refer to the Swagger documentation or like any of the documentation available from the respective developers. So the same thing, as I'm taking the RESTful Booker, I have to refer to their documentation to see if they have any specific API documentation available or not. If you are using any real time on your organization applications, the best person to connect with your the respective developers, they will give you more information on that. So like if you come to this, so this is the application owner have given couple of documentation. If you go to the get booking, you can see that they are providing, like when you say this booking, it will give you the complete list of bookings. So you can see you are getting the booking, all the booking IDs actually here, how many bookings are done for this particular API endpoint. Now after this, so this is basically your get call. You are giving the API endpoint from the documentation, and after that, so if you see this documentation, it says that if you want to do a pure get call, you have to use their endpoint, and after that what kind of different things you will be getting as a output actually. So if you see the response, you will be getting the booking ID and the status message as 200, and then message is okay. You're getting the seconds, milliseconds that is happening for this entire call to get the response. So that is what you will be seeing from here. So that is the way you have to understand, and you can see that where you are getting only the IDs, you can see that. Now if you go to this, you can filter by name, like you can specify the first name, what would be, you can see that there is a query parameter actually they are giving, booking first name equal to something and last name. So if you see here each endpoint, so this is my get call, right? Now after this, let's say that I want to get the information about individual bookings. So this is giving you an overview of how many bookings were there, right? But if you want to see a specific, what is the booking details of for this particular ID, so what you can do, you can just give another resource entry and you can say that 14. So for this 14 number ID, I want to know the details. So you can see first name, last name, total price, the deposit paid or not, and then what is the booking date, and then any additional needs. So all these details you will get. Basically you're going one level deeper into the booking. So here, so this particular 14 is nothing but your path parameter. So after this, this is called as a resource. After that, you are giving the resource location here or the resource ID. So we call it as a path parameter because it is including with your path. Okay. Now what you can do, even we can change this particular, see today it is 14, right? Tomorrow I can say that 11. If that resource is exist, it will give you the details. Like let's say I want to get the 111. Maybe it is not found. So there is no booking available for this particular ID. So I'm keep on changing to this URL, right? I can do another way as well. So I can select this one. I can set a variable. So if I set this variable, you can see set a new variable. Let's say that I will say that booking ID. So I'm setting up a booking ID and I'm specifying some value here. Let's say that 14, and here I'm specifying this. Okay, let this, and here I'll make it as collection level. and I will set this. And once you set that as the collection level, right, you can get into this. So you go to this collection level and you go to this variable, and if you go down here, you should see, let me close this, and here you can see the booking ID which I added. So there is already one, so I can just remove that. Or maybe what I can do, I can create my own variable here, and this booking ID variable I can use it here as well. So let me go to this, and here you can see that there is already a booking ID available. Now if I am making this, there is nothing available, but let me go here and let's say that add 14 here, okay, and save this. And here what I'm going to do, I'll use the same booking ID which I just created. So I'll say booking ID, and it is even evaluating to initial value as 14. It means that if there is no current value allocated on the runtime, even I can assign some value, right? So if the current value is not allocated here, it is left blank, you will get the initial value will be assigned to this. And if I am doing a hit here, you'll see the ID for this particular booking ID is becoming available here. And if you see here, what is this? You can see the current value it is taking as 24. I'll show you that as well. Let's say that I'm removing that and I'm making it as 24. You will see Jim Brown. This will be coming as a result. You can see that either you can use that or you can use the variable as well, which we just created. Sorry, not this. This is booking ID. Okay, like this also you can specify here. So this path variable, whatever we are creating, you can have a hard-coded value, you can have a variable which is specific to this your request, or on the collection level or at the global level also, whichever way you can do that. But normally it is preferable to go with the collection level only. Okay, there is another type as well that I'm going to show. So you see here the params, it is query parameter is a default option available, but I will do a change for this. Let me do one thing. I'll duplicate this particular request here, but I will be changing this to make this as I'll say colon level. Okay, so here what I can do, I can remove this one, and there is something called as like this. Now you can see, as I added this colon here, right, after this slash, you can see there is a new path variable section is added into your param section here. Okay, and you see that this booking ID become a key actually here. So instead of going to your variable and changing something, even you can change on the fly as well. Like I can give 11, I can run it. If 11 is available, 11 is not available, so it won't come. I'll say 14 and I will do this, and you can see the 14 details it is coming. So while you are testing with different combinations, right, that time this colon and then this variable is helpful, and you can add as many as, like let's say that I am adding something here, and you can see another path variable is appended here. Now whatever value you are assigning here, that is limited to this particular request only, you won't get in here. Okay, so these variables are very limited to this particular individual calls. That's why I said it is very restricted to request based. If you want to add with multiple test data, you can do that here while doing the testing on the Postman. Okay, so there are three options. You can hard code the path variable value, you can have the variables, the collection level variables with a double curly brackets, or else you can have the colon which will be adding here, and you can change the value from here, the path variables. Okay, so this is all about path variable, which is very straightforward. Like let's say that, and it is not limited to just this what you call integers only. Depending on what variable it is required here, you can keep adding there. For an instance, let's say that you are going to take the API call for the GitHub. Let's say that you are doing api.github.com/ user slash repo name. So the repo name can be a path parameter. You can use any of your repo names that you want to fetch the details from there. I'm just talking as an example there. So like that you can specify different things. So path parameter is very straightforward. But now let's talk about the query parameters, which we discussed here. So the query parameter is always starts with your question mark. You can see, okay, question mark, and you have to specify the key equals to value. Okay, you can have a different combination of key value pair as well. It is not just limited to one key value, but you can give different conditions. Based on that condition, your result will be sorted out there. So I'll showcase couple of those options. For this, actually, let me first open the Json server. So you guys would be knowing that we can even locally keep the API server as well. So for this, I will be using the Json server. So if you are not sure how to use this, you can watch our previous session. You will get to know more details about that. So Json server, and then I will say db dot. So I'll go to my, so I'll say Json server space db.json. Okay, so once you came here, you will see it is giving you a resource URL. So I'll just copy this one and I'll go to this, and here you can see it is giving couple of data. The same posts I can use even in my here. So let me do one thing. Let me create a new API collection here, and I will just say here that local db, just for naming convention, and under this I will be creating a new get call, and I'll just copy paste this one, save it and run this, and you can see it is giving me couple of results here. Now I can have the path parameter as well here. Like the path parameter is saying you can specify one ID there as well. Like for an instance, let's say that I'm taking 37 as my ID, save it and run. You can see you are getting only one option here. How do I know that the ID is allowed here? Let's say that I want to take any other things. Let's say that I want to take the title or the user ID. So that's where I need to use the query parameters. How do I know what are the query parameters here? So for this, I need to go to the Json server fake API. So if you search this one, it will redirect to you to the GitHub link, and here if you scroll down, you will get all the documentation of this one actually here. Okay, if you scroll down, it is giving me the option like what are the different API content that I can use it. And then if you scroll down, you can see what options you can use it. You can use the post resource with the post ID. You can have even comments as well. Like if you go down, see, you can have profile. Inside the profile, you can see as well different details. And now if you scroll down, here you will see a couple of options which is very specific to your query parameters. So I'm not going to each details. I just shown this documentation so that you shouldn't be surprised when you want to test the query parameter based in your real-time API calls. You can ask the documentation from your developer or the product group, so that you can take that as a reference point and you can execute them in your Postman. So let me do that here. So for the query parameter, I have kept couple of things. Let me show you that. So if I go to this pet store project, right, so I have shown once into the documentation of here. You can see that if you want to do a get call, you can see you can use the pet ID as your parameter. So this is path parameter. But if you go to this, you can see a get call. Find by status. If you click on this find by status has some of the query parameters, and this parameter status, that is your key, and the value could be available, pending and sold. Let me utilize that. Now to utilize that, here you can come, you can see pet store project pet. Find by status is your resource. Under that resource, you are adding the query parameter as status. You can see as I added the question mark, the query parameter is getting added here. Okay, so let's say that it is only one parameter. Let's say I'm adding another one, another status, and you can see it is updating. I'll say pending. Okay, you can see it is keep appending into my API call. So as you can see that for status available, I'm getting these results actually. You can just copy paste this entire content. You can go to the JSON formatter, and here this is one of the online application, and you can process this and you will be getting a proper format actually. So here you can see that if all of the entity content whatever it is showing, the status should be available, nothing else. So that is one of the way you can assert the endpoint. The same thing I can use here pending as well. I can say pending, and I can hit to this and make sure that all of my content or the items whatever I'm getting, the status should be pending. So the same thing we can look into other aspects. So if you go to the Swagger documentation to see if any other query parameters we have or not, so you can see that we don't have any other query parameters that it is supporting here. Store order ID, if you hit to this, and then here you can see the order ID is a path parameter. So based on that we can use the API endpoint. Okay, so the same thing if I go to this JSON server, and then as you can see here, if I go to this local DB, and if you hit to this, you will get all these details right here, 37, or like if I go to this, then you will get the entire list actually here. Fine. Now let's try to see some other options into this local DB, and if I go to this documentation here, you can see that I can even go to the post with a combination of two different IDs. Like let me copy paste this one, and if I go here, and after this if I add this, let me remove this portion, okay, and save it, and if I do this, then I should be getting two different entity content actually. Here you can see the ID is 1 because it is satisfying my ID key value as 1, and also I'm getting the ID 2. So this is what it should support actually here. Then only you will get the response, because that is how this API endpoint is designed by the developers. Like you can even use, if you scroll down a bit, you can see like page 7. So it means that now see what happens when you call this posts, right? Let me go to this, and if I hit to this, you will see lot of different content actually here. If I control C, and if I paste it into this, into here, and then if I process this, you will see lot of different things it is getting. Okay, in this case what normally happens here, actually 100 items I got it. Not all these 100 items you will get at that instance actually. It might be paginated in the sense, first it will get the 10 items, then it will get another 10, like that it will be appending to the entire result. That's how actually the page concept is coming here. Let's say that I'm taking a query parameter here as page 7, so I'll do here like this, okay, and you can see this particular key is added into your query parameter. And if I do a send, and I might not see everything actually, I will see a portion of that actually. So you can see it is 100, right? But if I paste it here and I process it, you can see just couple of items only I got it. So on the 7th paginated view, I'm getting the ID 61 to 70 only. So only 10 items I got. So it means that each page it is giving only 10 items. Even I can limit this. So when I'm getting the page content, I can limit that to only 5 items. How did I know? If you go to here, you can see there is a limit as well. So let me copy paste this entire thing where I can even give multiple query parameters. So this is one interesting thing. Let's say when I'm taking the page 7 as limit 20, see for me by default it is coming 10 only, right? But let me do only 2 here. Save it and send it. And if you see this response, you get only 2 only. Let me Control A and paste it here so that you can see the content. You can see only two items only I'm getting that as a response. So this is what, and you don't need to like really recall what query parameters it is giving. You have to follow their individual documentation, whether it is Swagger or whether it is any kind of document or what document or PDF it is coming. There are some other things are also there. You can follow this one in the post. You can even sort with the user. You can, based on the user, you can sort it also. You can view, okay, based on the order as a descending or ascending order. You can even see that you can start from 20. So this is not on the pagination, right? This is basically what IDs you want to showcase. Like for an instance, if I copy this here and paste it, and then I will send it, you can see that the ID is starting from 21, skipping the 20 actually there, and it goes up to 30. If you go here, you can see till 30 it is giving. Now you might ask, why is it that these query parameters are coming into the picture? I'll give you one real-time example on this. Let's say that you are doing the Amazon.com, you are searching for certain devices and you want to have a specific filtering criteria based on certain certain amount actually. Let's say that I have the range from 1000 to 2000 amount. I want to see all the devices. So that's where actually when you select the range, right, on the left hand side you will see the range 1000 to 2000, and then you click on the search. Now while you are searching that, the API call will be going as this. So it might be going like this. Let's say that there is a amount range. I'm just taking an example. So when you select the slider on your Amazon.com, the Amazon developer would have written like this. So amount range equal to 2000. Now whatever the result that you get, right, is an API response. Based on this response, the UI will be rendered actually on that whatever information you are getting. If you are getting 3 items here, let's say that 3 items as a API response, you will get only 3 devices on your screen. So that is the main purpose of that. So query parameters are very much similar to your searching criteria. Like if you go to google.com, let's say that I'll go to Google. Okay, here Google, and then you go to this, and then here you search something. Let's say that you are searching QAB box here, and you can see that here this one, if you see this API call, it is happening like that. So if you copy this one and then paste it, let's say I'm creating a new request. In this new request, I'm doing this one. Okay, so you will get a different request actually. So now based on this request, you can see that 200. Okay, so based on this request response, whatever you are getting, this UI will be rendered actually. Whatever you are seeing here, that will be rendered actually, all the components. So this particular HTML content, whatever, if you take it from here, that is similar to the API response that you got from here. Okay, so this is the query parameter. You can see that. So Q is nothing but the search. Here you can search and you can get the search text. The same thing I can do in my local request as well. For an instance, let's say that I'm doing Q equal to, let's say that I want to search this particular text in my entire content, and you send it. You see that it is getting here. Okay, now let me go to the next. You can see whether it is on the title or body, it doesn't matter anywhere, but if you are getting the text search, you will be displayed here. You can see that full text search. If anything you want to search, you can get it here. If it is not listed here, you can't do that because your developer would not have implemented that functionality there. Okay, like that. And also let's say that I want to go with another resource instead of post. Let's say that I want to go to the comment. So comment is again another resource entry on my API call. You can see there are 3 results you are getting. If I copy this one and paste it, let's say that I'm duplicating this one, and in here, it's not this here, let's say that I'm duplicating, and here I'm making this as my comments, and you can see all these 3 comment, you will get it. Now individual IDs also I can get it. Let's say I want to just get only 1, you got here. Let's say that I want to get the, we want to use that the query parameter. Let's say that I'm making post ID equal to 1. Let's see if it is giving me or not. So you can see it is giving. There are 2 post ID equal to 1. That's how it is giving me. The same thing, I have another example, very quick example I want to show. Let's say I will do one thing. I'll cut this one and let me first run this one. So this will give me the number of books actually that we have, and in each book there is a title, author, there is a ID associated, there is a category like fiction, or it is related to technology, science, all those things it is giving. Here you can see it is related to the computers. So genre it is giving, and then year published, checked out, checked it, all these things it is giving. Let's say that I want to get the genre with fiction only. So I can run it. Now the result that I'm getting should be fiction based only. You can see everything should be fiction only. I can give one more option also as an example, author equal to, let's say that I want to go for Anuj here, and I will save this one and I will send. And here as you can see, so for this particular author it is not allowing. So that's why it is telling that unknown query parameter, because it is not supporting. So though we can see a Anuj as a author, I am not getting those details. So this is where you are getting an odd behavior, right? But if you are still expecting that the author should be searched in your query parameter, you can reach out to your developer and you can ask them that this is having an issue. Okay, so these are all about manually you can test it, but as we have discussed in our previous session, we can utilize the Postman as an automated testing, the assertions as well, like whatever the content that we are getting, even we can write some test scripts as well, right? For an instance, let's say that I'm going to this get call, let's say that to this get call. So when you do this send this call, right, you will get certain output here. Let's say that you are getting this as output. I can write certain test cases here in the sense when I'm doing a get call, let's say that my status code has to be always 200, and you can see it is coming as 200. And then let's say that even I want to say that the response whatever I'm getting, the response time should be within 300 milliseconds only. So that is also one more thing. Let's say here you can see that it is 547 millisecond, means it is not following the proper output actually. So I can fail this test case as well. So these are the different things you can write the test script as well. I will be spending a separate session actually for this, where we can get all the script, how do we write the test script into this test tab, and then when you run the entire collection, everything will be executed there, and also you can get the result as well. Okay, so you can see that there is a test result. You can see the status code is 200, so that's why it becomes successful, but it is not coming within 300 milliseconds. That's why you got a fail. See, for demo purpose, I'm showing only 1 or 2 API calls here, right? But in real time you might be adding 50 to 60 API requests, and at every time you can't just run one by one and verify the responses. For that reason, Postman have given you this test tab, where you can write some basic level of test cases here, which will run and give you the test result. We'll discuss very in detail in our upcoming sessions. Okay, so that's pretty much about your get call, the path parameter and your query parameter. In fact, this path parameter, it's not mandatory that you have to use it in only in get calls. Even you can use in your delete call as well, in your post call as well, in your put call. See, if you see in the put call, I'm giving the user some username. For an instance, let's say I don't want to keep this here. I'll do a Control X. I'll put this as ID, and here you can see the ID is added. I can even add it here also. So this is very specific to your API endpoint, not with respect to get, a post or delete call. So it is very much common to all kind of API calls that you are doing here. Okay, so that's pretty much it for today. Hope this session is helpful, and do subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.